The name Papiermark is applied to the German currency from the 4th of August 1914, when the link between the Goldmark and gold was abandoned, due to the outbreak of World War I. In particular, the name is used for the banknotes issued during the hyperinflation in Germany of 1922 and especially 1923, which was a result of the German government's decision to pay its war debt by printing banknotes. History. From 1914, the value of the mark fell. The rate of inflation rose following the end of World War I and reached its highest point in October 1923. The currency was stabilized in November 1923 after the announcement of the creation of the Rentenmark, although the Rentenmark did not come into circulation until 1924. When it did, it replaced the Papiermark at the rate of 1 trillion Papiermark equals 1 Rentenmark. Later in 1924, the Rentenmark was replaced by the Reichsmark. In addition to the issues of the government, emergency issues of both tokens and paper money, known as Kriegsgeld and Notgeld, were produced by local authorities. The Papiermark was also used in the Free City of Danzig until replaced by the Danzig-Gulden in late 1923. Several coins and emergency issues in Papiermark were issued by the Free City. Coins. During the war, cheaper metals were introduced for coins, including aluminium, zinc and iron, although silver 1/2 mark pieces continued in production until 1919. Aluminium 1 Pfennig were produced until 1918 and the 2 Pfennig until 1916. Whilst iron 5 Pfennig, both iron and zinc 10 Pfennig and aluminium 50 Pfennig coins were issued until 1922. Aluminium 3 mark were issued in 1922 and 1923, and aluminium 200 and 500 mark were issued in 1923. The quality of many of these coins varied from decent to poor. During this period, many provinces and cities also had their own corresponding coin and note issues, referred to as Notgeld currency. This came about often due to a shortage of exchangeable tender in one region or another during the war and hyperinflation periods. Some of the most memorable of these to be issued during this period came from Westphalen and featured the highest face value denominations on a coin ever, eventually reaching 50 million mark. German Papiermark of the Weimar Republic. German Papiermark of Danzig. The Danziger Private Aktien Bank was the first bank established in Danzig. They issued 2 series of notes denominated in thalers prior to issuing the mark. These mark issues are extremely rare. The Ostbank for Handel and Gewebe opened the 16th of March 1857, and by 1911 2 additional banks were in operation. Issuance of the Danzig Papiermark. The German Papiermark was issued by Danzig from 1914 to 1923. 5 series were issued during World War I by the City Council. Denominations ranged from 10 Pfennig to 20 mark. The Free City of Danzig Municipal Senate issued an additional 4 post-World War I series of notes. The 1922 issue was denominated in 100, 500, and 1,000 mark notes. The denominations for the 1923 issue were 1,000 and 10,000 and 50,000 mark notes. The 1923 provisional issue reused earlier notes with a large red stamp indicating the new denominations of 1 million and 5 million mark. The last series of Danzig mark was the 1923 inflation issue of 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 500 million, and 5 billion mark notes. The Danzig mark was replaced by the Danzig-Gulden, first issued by the Danzig Central Finance Department on the 22nd of October 1923. Note on numeration. In German, milliard is 1 billion or 1,000 million, while billion is 1 trillion or 1 million million.